the country about our UK.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're very well. Sir Boris, hi. Little Cheese, hi there. I hope you're well tonight. Welcome to the red zone, as we call here in Italy at the moment. How are you guys keeping? How are things? So before we go into the video tonight, I just want to let some more people enter the stream. So we're currently at 29. Zoe, welcome to the stream. Let me know if you can hear me. Thanks, Suzanne. I'm very well. Yeah, I have a little bit of a sore throat. I don't know if that's a sign, a bad sign or not. So what's the situation in Italy? Where to start? So I'll just say hello to everyone as they come in. Hi, Herbie, Boxing. Hi, Marilena. Hi, Molly. Welcome. Drew. Hi, Robin, Vinley, Jerry, Molly. I can hear you. Good. You can hear me. That's great. Salty. All right, Shaggers. Hi, Killer. Bike John. Hi. So what's the situation here in Italy? Well, where to start, as I said. So this is day number 2 of our complete lockdown. So I had to go to the doctor today. My wife had a medical appointment. She couldn't drive, so I had to take her over. And I shared on Twitter a picture of... hi, everyone who's joining now. I shared a picture of... I saw an old lady, her daughter, and another... and that grandmother's grandchild also, and they were wandering around the town without any care in the world. But most of the traffic was very light, much lighter than a normal Friday. I did notice, which was quite particular, a lot of trucks and a lot of vans. So companies are probably still operating, but employees are not driving around. I have a little bit of a sore throat, but don't worry, I don't think I have coronavirus. I hope not, anyway. Yesterday I felt a bit sort of strange, but I think it's paranoia, probably because, you know, if something like this is going around, any type of sniffle or, you know, hot sensation in on your forehead, you'll automatically think, okay, I need to go to the doctor, but I sat still and I said, look, just let it pass, and it passed, and I'm okay. But I am protecting myself. Hi, everyone who's just joined the stream. So I also had to go to the pharmacy and the supermarket today. And so last week I went to the pharmacy. Nothing serious. I just had to go for my dog. My dog is diabetic, so I needed to get some needles. And last week I went... and there was a maximum 4-person limit in the pharmacy. So when I went today, I didn't actually look at the notice outside the front door, and it said maximum 1 person at a time. So I had actually walked in, and the owner said, no, get out, you have to wait, because there had already been someone in there. So I had to wait outside. So when I entered, we have a 1 meter minimum space between each person. So the pharmacist was behind the counter, and he was wearing rubber gloves and a mask, and he had put in front of the counter some like paraphernalia, you know, things for aspirins or whatever in front of the counter. So I had to hand the money over to him. Then he would step back, and then he would step forward, take the money, and then give me the change, and then I step forward and take it. It's quite crazy. So it's only pharmacies that are open at the moment. And then I went to the supermarket. In the supermarket, they had a limit of how many people could enter, and they had put red spots on the floor. And they said, look, you must stay, either side of these red spots, one person, either side of these red spots on the floor. And then when I picked up a small basket, when I went to pay, I had to wait in line and then allow the other person to complete their payment, and then I could enter with my groceries. So it's going to be like this for another month. Now, we stayed at home. Yes, and also, as I was returning, I was stopped by the police. And it fortunately was just a regular check, but the police are out checking everyone. So they normally check your documents and your driving license. That's what they ask for. And it always happens to me, because there were 3 cars in front of me. They let each of those pass, and then they stopped me, of course. And they asked me where I was going, and they asked me, they said, where have you been driving to? And I said, I just went to the pharmacy because it's in the town. And they asked for proof. So I had to show them the receipt from the pharmacy. And they said, okay, well, you shouldn't be going around. Yeah, but if I have to go to the pharmacy, I have to go around. So eventually they let me go and I went home. But all of the shops, apart from the supermarkets and pharmacies, are open. I saw a number of tobacconists open, which are quite common here in Italy. They sell newspapers or whatever, so they were open. But mainly most clothes shops or bakers are actually open as well. That was strange. But it's mainly supermarkets and pharmacies. And the streets are quite empty. And it's quite sad, really, because you see, over this last number of weeks, I've been able to go out and walk around, and the weather has been good, but now it's impossible. What about where you guys are? What is the current situation where you guys are? So I'll read some of the comments. I've been blabbing on, so let me read some of the comments. Barcelona is almost empty. I've been here 10 years and I've never seen this before. Facts trump prejudice. Coronavirus appearance put China's economy on hold. Sounds like a normal life if you're a black man living in London. I'm sorry to hear that. Anthony C., welcome. You're in my thoughts, Sad. Thank you very much. This is quite draconian, but it may be warranted, yes. So what I've been finding interesting for you guys in the UK was, I'm going to show you this. I was going to show you Matt Hancock, but I found a more interesting video. I'm going to show it to you now. We can watch it together and let me know what you guys think. So let me try and open it.
The only way to stop this epidemic.
Just bear with me for a moment. We'll get rid of Matt. Okay.
Here, the only way to stop this epidemic is indeed to achieve herd immunity.
Okay, Thomas Perry, you're shaking your head, and now you've got your head buried in your hands. What's your response to what John Edmonds just said?
This is like deciding, you know what, this forest might burn, so let's cut a third of it. This is crazy. We want to have 10, 20, 30% of the population catch this. The UK has, what, 66 million people? That's how many people? That's around 20 million people. 1% of these people are going to die. So we're saying we want to kill 200,000 people in the UK. So that's...
I don't think anyone is saying that. I don't think anyone is saying that. But I think there is a real debate in the scientific community going on about the value of herd immunity. So just briefly, what do you think about the value of herd immunity? And can it be created through the measures that the government is introducing right now?
we need to understand what it means, this herd immunity. They're saying everybody's going to catch it. So once they catch it, they can't catch it anymore. That's crazy. We don't want people to catch it. We want people not to catch it, because otherwise they're going to die. And right now the cases are going exponentially. In a week, the NHS is starting to be collapsed. In 2 weeks, it's going to be completely collapsed if we don't take measures now. And people are going to panic, maybe not today if we don't take the measures, but they're going to definitely panic next week or in 2 weeks. We have 13 days of advance compared to Italy, right? They thought the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. And then 1 week later, they realized, oh my God, this is exploding. They have now, what, 17,000 cases? Mm-hmm. It's exploding then. They realized too late that they were not containing this. UK now has an opportunity to catch this before the weekend. And we need to catch this before the weekend, because everybody's going to spread this with their friends, with their families that they haven't been seeing during the week. So it needs to be declared now.
Okay.
That's why.
Thomas, let's bring in John. I mean, has he got a point here? We've got to catch this right now.
There's two things. There's two strategies with a new virus, a new epidemic. There's two strategies. One, you can stamp out every single case in the world, every single case in the world, and then the virus, then you're free. You've stopped that epidemic without achieving herd immunity, but you must catch every single case in the world. When a mild disease, that's incredibly difficult. That's the phase that we were in when we were trying to do containment and everybody else was trying to do containment, yeah? Trying to stamp out every single case in the world. It hasn't worked, yeah? We haven't managed to do that. The next phase, when the virus, the genie is out of the bottle, the virus is all around the world and spreading, the next phase, the only other way that the epidemic is going to come to a stop is achieving herd immunity.
Okay, so unfortunately the video ends there. But so we have the idea of having herd immunity. So what the hell is herd immunity? So I shared this graphic below, and it's quite stark. So it says here, you can see here on the left, it says not immunized, blue, but still healthy. Immunized and healthy, yellow. Not immunized, sick and contagious. So if you have sick and contagious people in the population, and the population is not immunized, then you have the contagious disease spreading throughout the population. And this is what Boris Johnson is hoping to do. Because they're not talking about having a vaccine. Because if you look at there's the next option, which is some of the population get immunized, contagious disease spreads throughout the population, but has less of an effect. But at the moment, we don't have a vaccine. And then the best case scenario is most of the population get immunized. Spread of contagious disease is contained. Yes, but we don't have a vaccine. So this scientist, he's right. There is, you either stamp it out completely or you don't. And the government is talking about having herd immunity. But the only option that's available is the first one. And look at how many red there are there. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to die, but it does mean that a lot of people are going to die. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not able to critique this properly, but I'm just looking at the numbers here. And if we look at the examples that happened, so we look at the examples we have seen before us. So in China, they ignored it, and it exploded, and then they contained it, and now numbers are decreasing. So containment does work. Now, I don't know if containment is enough, because I think there are two risks regarding containment. First of all, you think you've contained it, and then it explodes later on, again, or you contain it, and it explodes later on with a different, it mutates and then explodes later on. Now, I think the goal must be containment and vaccination, not just herd immunity. But Boris Johnson wants, he's going for the first option here. There is only one option available for Boris Johnson, and it's the first one. No one is immune because we don't have a vaccine, and we just allow it to run its course. Don't rely on Chinese data, it's always iffy. No, I agree, but today at the moment it looks like the number of so in Italy today the number of deaths increased, but the number of new cases is stabilizing. So that must mean that containment is working. Now, I'm not saying that containment is the only option, but it needs to be contained and immunization needs to begin so that we're protected in the later part of the year when, for example, when there's the option that it will actually, when there's the chance that it will come back. I'll just go through some of the comments. Governments are always behind the curve. Many people are coming away from the virus with permanent lung damage and their immune system is weaker. Hi Max, number of government people are purveyors of eugenics. Yes. I can reintroduce leper colonies. I hope you're not joking. I hope you're joking there, sorry. The current goal is to delay the growth, decrease the coefficient, and so I need to slow down the stream just a moment. NSFW, read your last Twitter I sent you. Oh no, I haven't read the last Twitter you sent me. I'm sorry, I'll have a look. I still think the vaccines will be available in 18 months, but not earlier. This means you'll have to contain for 18 months. The Novara channel, before I came on the stream, I was looking... No sound, Max. You've lost me. No, sorry, I was looking at something. I was looking at the Novara channel and they were talking about how the UK is putting the economy before lives with the idea that the people who will die will be the least productive people in society. So the British economy will be protected. It depends on if the virus mutates each year, like the flu. Yes. So you can, at least with a vaccine, I think you're somewhat protected. Hi, Sam. But I don't know the value of herd immunization. You know, you can't be guaranteed. Which channel? I think it was Novara Media. The Netherlands is close to a national lockdown. Why isn't Johnson volunteering himself and his family for infection to get their immunity numbers up? Yes, that'd be interesting, Sarah. Probably because you can't, he has trouble identifying all members of his family. If we were wild animals, I'd say Johnson is calling us. I think at least productive, the lawyers will die first. Targeting politicians. No, least productive for the Tories. The least productive for the Tories, of course, are the old, the sick, the poor, the homeless. I don't like buying into conspiracy theories, but what is the outcome of herd immunity? Hi from Scotland at work. It is looking more like a hospital ward every day with extra cleaners and hand sanitizer notices. The same here in Italy. When I went to the supermarket, they had, you had to spray your hands before you enter and spray your hands as you leave. And people are walking around with masks on. But masks are for people who are already sick. They don't protect you from being sick, from getting sick, sorry. The old vote Tories, so they're productive. Someone should tell Tories that virus is targeting their voters and see how fast things change. Well, Boris is probably saying, look, at least we have, I have 5 years before I need these old people, and most of them will be probably dead anyway, so. Max, do you have any problems going to the shops for food and most importantly toilet roll? Oh, I have a bidet, so I don't need to. No, a good question, Diana. So the supermarkets are fully stacked. The shelves are stacked. I haven't seen any shortages of anything. There were some, I read about some shortages of pasta and rice in some stores, but I haven't seen any of it myself. I live in a small town, so the chances of them running out are quite small, quite low. Gero, please tell me more about Italy. So, this toilet roll thing is ridiculous. Yes, I saw a picture on Twitter of a man. It was hilarious. I don't know who shared it, but it was it was a photo of someone in their car and the car was completely full of toilet rolls, and the person who had taken the photo said, when the limits on limits on contact or on distance, maintaining a distance, finish, I'm going to beat the crap out of this guy. So how are things here? So everything is in lockdown. We're advised not to leave our homes. I normally walk my dogs every day because at work I can't work. Everything is being shut down. The companies I work for have cancelled everything. Fighting for toilet roll. And the streets are empty. I'm thinking I might take some photos tomorrow and put them on Twitter, but it's post-apocalyptic in a way. Normally here in Italy, stores, shops close from midday to 3 p.m. So if you go by at 1 p.m., everything is pretty much dead. But it's like that all day. But I'm very worried about people with small businesses and farms, for example. For example, this is another thing. We're talking about Brexit, but what about farms where they need workers to pick vegetables? If people stay home because they're afraid that they're going to get infected, how are the farmers going to get the vegetables picked? At the moment, there doesn't seem to be a shortage here of food or anything like that. Can you walk around freely or ride your bicycle? Technically, no, we shouldn't be walking around freely. But this morning I saw my neighbor walking his dog, and I was thinking to myself, that's not a good idea, because if the police see you, they may say, what are you doing? You should be at home. Now, they're not going to fine you or arrest you or anything, but they may, give you a talking to. But I saw a guy I saw numerous people cycling their bicycles around, and I don't think it was a good idea. Sir Antonius, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, this stream is going to be quite short tonight because I'm recovering. No, I'm not feeling fantastic. I don't think it's coronavirus, honestly, but I have a bit of a sore throat, so. Because, and as I said at the beginning of the stream, everything you think of, every twitch you have, you're thinking, oh my god, I'm sick. Hi Glasgow Kiss, welcome to the stream. So unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, the calendar has to be postponed, just like the election, just like everything else. We Scott's dog, hi. You'd be sad to know. Is it the wrong part of the year for growing stuff, but Spain comes into season? So at the moment, we're still on day 2 of the lockdown. I wrote on Twitter how I'm suffering from cabin fever. Hi, Cotton Cat. And QA Library was very kind to suggest doing some things to pass the time. But what I was thinking about was how those people, those people who do what do you call it? Those Mars missions, where they do it in Iceland or in Greenland or somewhere isolated. They did it in Russia some years ago. You have 6 people stuck inside a small building for 6 months or something like that, 300 days, and people go crazy. I was starting to go crazy after one day. I was like, oh my God, I have to get out of here. So luckily I was able to get out today. A lot of things are postponed. I have a friend in America, in San Diego, and she was telling me that at the moment nothing's happening really. There were a few cases because of a cruise ship that docked in San Diego, I think it was. Hit the like button, folks. Yes, please do. Thanks for that message, Killer. Is it okay to be outside? It cannot spread in the air. I did some work. I have a little garden, so I did a little bit of work yesterday in the garden. But apart from that, I didn't really go out yesterday or today. Sore throat is a rare symptom of COVID, apparently. So if that's all you have, it's not likely an issue. That said, my office today told everyone with cough, fever, or sore throat to stay at home. If you want to join up and play Hearts of Iron 4, one game can last 100 hours. Wow. Over in Ireland, they cancelled St. Patrick's Day parade. That's so sad. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. Help Max the Cure and toilet paper. Do you think the media are to blame for the panic buying? Yes. Well, I think maybe not the media, but social media, because you see people sharing videos of people going crazy buying toilet paper. I saw a video, I think it was in London or in the UK anyway, of two women fighting over a trolley load of toilet paper. But that was a week ago, so it's not even, it's not even panic stations yet. That makes toilet paper fun. Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much, Lou. Lou. Life is like a bog roll. The closer you get to the end, the quicker it goes. The virus has probably been around for months, but the panic media has just kicked in. Yes. So I heard that Donald Trump proclaimed a national emergency. So finally, he's taking it seriously. He was first of all saying that it was a hoax. Then he was saying it was a Democrat Party scam or something like that. And now, Tesco, no toilet paper until Sunday. Next, they'll be handing out them by piece. How many do you need? 3. Okay, here you go. Nicola Sturgeon saying if the school's shut, it will be until summer, not for a fortnight. That's my fear here as well. Hi, Suzanne. That's my here they've said that the schools are closed until April. So that's 2 weeks away. I don't know if they'll close just until April. They may close for a lot longer than that. And that's going to create more problems. Like, I really fear for small businesses here and companies here because, imagine you have a small business. For example, near me, there are a number of restaurants. And I'm just thinking of the restaurants today. Trump may have it. Trump is immune as he It dies in KFC fat. And do you think the shutdown will cause fatalities? It definitely will. Glasgow Kiss, thank you so much. You're a star. I think it will cause fatalities because of so many people who have been turned away from hospital. I was speaking to an old man today, and he said, the fact of the matter is that many people will be turned away. They have to make a choice. Do we give this ICU bed to a coronavirus patient, or do we give it to who has a good chance of surviving, or an older person who doesn't? They have to make difficult choices, and I think a lot of people may be putting off treatments, which is not a good idea, which will cause problems later on. I think the big problem, where's the super chat? YouTube has demonetized my channel once again. I think it was my mathematics video. I'm not sure, but I think it could have been my mathematics. Do you remember my mathematics video where I made some terrible mistakes? I deleted the video and I uploaded it again, and it was about a day later or 2 days later I received a notification saying that the channel had been demonetized because it wasn't very clear. It said that I had not added enough commentary to my videos, something like that. And there's no way to appeal it. It's just you have no monetization for 30 days, and then what happens is you can request it to be switched on again. So, c'est la vie. But I still do the live streams. I love the live streams, so that's not going to stop me. What do you think of the virus being labeled as the boomer remover? That's horrible. Demonetized for bad maths, yeah. Who could forget the Mad Max bad maths video? Try and say that with a few beers on you, Night Raven. Mad Max bad math video. Sounds like a tongue twister. That's the big problem with the hospitals getting swamped. That's why the medics need to spread the load. And I saw a terrible photo of a doctor. I don't know if it was a doctor or nurse in Milan who was completely destroyed. She was, collapsing because they're doing everything they can, and emotional and physical strain of it. I hope it's not going to be the same situation where you guys are, because here it's a disaster. Imagine how climate change will affect the virus. Oh my god. Mad Max beyond toilet rolled up. Did you see the link sent about YouTube coronavirus policy? I did, yes. Okay, no monetization. Then we need to link somewhere. It's not moving too faster. That's annoying. One of the things I like about your videos is that you let the thing you comment on run through without interrupting and commenting at the end. Yeah, that was something I thought was best when I was making the videos is, if it's a James O'Brien video or a Channel 4 video or something like that, unless it's a politician who's talking for a long time, I generally let the video run through and then I comment at the end. But unfortunately, I think in some of the videos I upload, or I don't know, it seemed to be maybe in the past, some of the videos uploaded I didn't comment enough, and YouTube were saying, that's not good. And they won't say, okay, this video is a problem, and tell you this is the video, and then I know what I'm doing wrong, but they just demonetize the entire channel. Sorry, I don't want to be talking about these money problems now. We're talking about something much more serious, the coronavirus. What about the poor bloke who was pleading with authorities to collect his dead sister? My God. Yeah, and that's the problem. you're not allowed into the hospitals. You're not allowed. Funerals, weddings are cancelled. So even people who have died, they're not allowed to have a funeral. I heard about a story of an Italian girl who was living in London, and she heard, maybe it was James O'Brien was actually talking about it. I don't remember, but it goes something like this. She was living in London. Her father got sick. I think, no, it was her mother got sick. Yeah, her mother got sick and was brought into hospital. She had the virus. She died. And she couldn't get home because there were restrictions on flying. And at the same time, her father eventually got sick as well, and she couldn't get home to see him. I can't imagine what that'd be like. Like, I'm in contact with my dad all the time. But he's fine, so he's with my sister. But my sister is a paramedic in Ireland, so I'm a little bit worried about her because she's going to be in contact with a lot of sick people, and I hope, and I wrote on Twitter, please, people, wherever you are, if you have a real emergency, call an ambulance. Don't be calling an ambulance because you run out of KFC or something like that. People do that. She told me once somebody called an ambulance because they had cellulite on their legs. I was like, what? Trump's test results just came in and they say swine flu. Yeah, I think Trump probably has it. Maybe it's not serious, but he may have tested positive. Doesn't mean that he's going to die or anything, but I think Trump probably has it. But he's told the media that he hasn't bothered with the test. Like, if you can think of anyone in the United States who needs to be tested and who would be given a test, would be the president. So him saying he doesn't have it, he didn't need a test, that raised a lot of red flags for me. Because if he had just said, "Yeah, I got a test done and it's fine," then I'd be more likely to believe him. But him to say, "I didn't need a test," or "I'm not having a test," that raised a red flag for me, because why would you say that? Unless you're trying to hide something. And if he's trying to hide it, I think we should watch his behavior over the next few days. It wasn't today. I didn't see the broadcast today, but the broadcast yesterday, he was breathing heavily, like. Now that could have been because of his arteries, but I don't know. It made me a little bit worried. In the US, unless it's a deathbed, there is no one is allowed in any nursing homes. Used to watch Kyle when he commented on atheism, but he interrupted too much, usually Hitchens, to give his own commentary and swamped what he was talking about. "I prefer your style." "Oh, thank you." So, to YouTube. Thank you. I if it's Mike Graham, no, I'm sorry, I can't let Mike Graham speak for 10 minutes without interrupting. I think it depends on the video, of course. If it's someone talking about one topic, then I prefer just to let them speak and then add a comment at the end. Bolsonaro says he's negative. First test was wrong. What do you think? Another case like Trump, because he's another perfect example of that. He came out after saying, it was all fake news. But it wasn't fake news. What was fake? The idea that you tested as positive the first time, and this, like, he could have easily said, "Look, the first test was positive, the second test is negative, everything's okay." Why not to say something like that instead of this? Everything's okay now. It was all fake news. But why did you not claim fake news after the first test? So I think it could be another case of someone trying to hide something. Velcro says, when I started listening to you, I knew I could hear an Irish accent in there. Yes. I think I've said this before, but somebody told me, "You have a strange accent. You sound colonial." was like, what? Colonial? I know there is a part of Connecticut, I think, where the people still speak with the same accent as the 1600s or so. A small little town where people still have an English accent. Trump was not breathing heavily. He was still processing his fast food. Also, Ireland closes a lot of schools and colleges and masses, and cancel a lot of events. See, this is the thing: is they're doing exactly what Italy was doing about a week ago. Don't get ambulance; it costs too much. Trump doesn't need to do testing. We all know his boxy. I think Trump did do the test. He'd probably fail it. No, well, an ambulance in the and then they're talking about. You sound Irish, not posh. No offense meant. Thank you very much. If you want, I think there was, I remember a video online, I think my sister sent it to me, of a, I can't find it now, it was on YouTube for a while, but it was Angry Cavan Farmer. And there's Cavan is a county in Ireland, and there's a farmer there speaking, and they had subtitles, and then at one stage the subtitles just broke because they didn't work anymore. Because it was impossible to understand them. But in Cavan, they speak in Cavan like this. That's the way they speak in Cavan. Trump would fail a blood test. If I could type properly, it'd be dangerous. Don't forget to thumbs up, guys. Yes, Sir Antonius Block. Thank you. Please remember, thumbs up, everyone. It helps the stream. Vampires always fail blood tests. I know I was going to say, so about the Donald Trump. So he said in his address yesterday, "Mean Cavan man." Yes, they're meant to be. There's a joke. So Cavan people are meant to be very mean, so tight-fisted. Don't like to part with their money. Which is interesting because in every society they have someone from that area, so that walk of life, from that behavior, with that type of behavior. Tell me in the comment section in the stream, what area of your country do people say, you find mean people? Anyway, so the joke about Cavan. So there's a Cavan man. He's sitting in a pub, and a fly buzzes around him and falls into his pint of Guinness. And he takes the fly out and he holds it by the wings and he says, "Spit it out." Okay, I hope that was funny. Have you been following what has been happening to... Oh, let me just scroll up. To Adam, his truck company, he's been looking at £18,000 loss a day just from Italy. A group of then now in North Africa and back to the UK via Spain. This is because of the check, or no, this is because of the coronavirus. So the trucks can't pass through Italy. Oh my God. In Belgium, we say find mean people in Holland. Boris believes the strain needs to pass through people to attain herd immunity. The whole point of herd immunity is that after people have been vaccinated, 280 to 708 cases in 24 hours. A cesspit. The best thing to do is immunize. To be immune to COVID-19 is to make a calendar. As you are our supreme leader, it's a duty to have us that way. Scots are supposedly tight. Is that true? Because is it the English that say the Scottish people are mean, or I want to hear from the horses' mouths? Are Scottish people mean? I don't think it is. People on this stream here are not, so I know for sure. Do a reaction video then, Max. It's allowed, I think. My colleague on desk opposite has a cancer operation scheduled in about 10 days. Oh my god, I hope that works out in more ways than one. Yeah. Hopefully your colleague gets it done as soon as possible, because I think later on the hospitals are going to be swamped. And something like cancer can't be put on the long finger. You have to have it done as soon as possible. Update is second from his wife, Adam. The 3 other drivers could be stuck in Morocco if things get worse. In Germany, they have relaxed truck bans in certain sectors. That's the thing. I saw trucks today, but these were local ones, so I don't know if there's ones traveling between countries. But they need to get goods, and they need to get goods, across the border. They need to get goods in and out of the country. I understand the checks and more checks and stopping people, whatever, but you can't bring the country to a halt. And then also your friend Adam, how is he supposed to survive? Because if his trucks are there, he's having to pay for that damage, and then he has to pay the truck drivers, while they're there, and then the costs of them being there, like hotels or whatever they have to, and food and whatever. How is he supposed to do that? I assume he has insurance, but how long is that going to last? By Scots are tight with their money, I think they just mean we're poor. Yeah, probably. Scottish and Welsh are thought to be tight in England, where I come from. They just call us cons. New Zealanders are tight according to us Australians. Do you think it works vice versa? No, we aren't tight. Some of the highest charity donations on average in the UK. I believe that. I don't know where these stereotypes come from. I'm trying to think of another joke about Cavan people, but nothing comes to mind at the moment. I thought Kiwis were Australians with A-levels. Now, no fighting in the stream. A friend of mine is on paragliding vacation in Spain. He hopes to be stuck down there so he can fly 6 weeks straight. Everybody except the tight Scots, get your donations in to help Max out here. The toilet roll fund. Thanks, Glasgow Kiss. Sorry if I haven't responded to your comment on Patreon. I will soon. That's because they are. So I was going to say. So Donald Trump gave his address yesterday. And he made a gaffe. Was it a gaffe or whatever? But it sounded like a gaffe, because he said, "Don't worry, anyone who needs to be tested, or anyone who needs to be cured of the coronavirus, the insurance companies will waiver the costs, the co-payments." And 5 minutes later, the insurance companies got online and they said, no, we're not going to do that. People. So think of a situation where people are worried they may be sick in the US. And what do? Well, they call their doctor and say, "I need a test." And the doctor says, "Okay, the test will be covered, but the treatment will not be covered." And you say, "Well, how much would the treatment cost?" "Well, the treatment could cost thousands." "Well, then maybe I'm not going to do a test, because if I don't know, then I probably won't suffer. But if I do know and I can't pay for it, what am I supposed to do?" This is insane. Trump doesn't do gaffes. He only does gaffes. In Germany, Swabians are considered as tight. Swabian. Economical to a fault. We need quantitative easing for toilet roll. Print more sheets. Question marks. I've heard that the reason Italy has been hit so fast is because of the number of Chinese garment workers in Milan area because of the fashion industry. Any element of truth or fake news? I haven't heard that, but that could be a factor because there was a lot of outsourcing. So recently, last number of years, about the last 10 years, a lot of the large fashion houses used to produce a lot of their products here in Italy. And they said, oh, wait a minute, we can produce it cheaper in China, but sell it at the same price in Italy. Profit. So they started opening factories in China, but then what happened was there were a lot of restrictions for made in Italy. So what the Chinese companies and the Italian companies decided was, well, we could actually bring the Chinese people here, and they could work in the factories here, and for lower cost, of course, and or we could outsource it to smaller companies, and they can produce, and we can say, look, it's nothing to do with us. So a lot of dirty work going on here regarding the clothing industry. And that could be the case that a lot of Chinese had come over. But there was also a lot of Italians had been working in China as well. I know of a few, because a lot of the industries also have factories in China because it's cheaper. So they may have only an office here in Italy, but they have most of the production in China or some of the production in China. So there are people going over and back to China on a weekly basis from Italy. So they could, it could be a case of the Chinese people who've come over to Italy recently, or it could be more likely that it's Italians themselves that were going back and forth between Italy and China that brought it over. But you don't need a huge number of people. We're thinking of a Chinese, Little China or whatever in Milan. That's a huge number of people. But the initial virus was with a small number of people. It doesn't need a lot of people. So that could be, my Italian friend told me. I'm not saying he's wrong or she's wrong, but it could be correct. I wouldn't dismiss it completely. Chinese are very present in Spain. They run many small pound shops there. Basically, Banggood is a store locally. I don't think it's really the Chinese living in Europe, because most of them have been here for years, so it's not, and they don't really have that much contact with China. Because I'm not saying this is, I'm not an authority on this, but this is my feeling, is that most of them have been living here for years, and they don't really have any more contact with China. So it's more likely people who are going back and forth between here and China who probably brought the disease. Spearman, sorry, I didn't see that. Have you seen the US media says now it's racist to call it the Chinese coronavirus, even though they were using the term themselves? No, I didn't see the news saying it was. Some people, whether it was Chinese or, I don't think it really helps the situation. It doesn't. It's here now. We have to deal with it. But something good I saw, I think it was yesterday evening or this morning. Some Chinese scientists came over from China to Italy to help out with dealing with the outbreak. And there was a Chinese billionaire who paid for $500,000, I think it was, testing units for the United States and 1 million masks or something like that. So, you know, if the Chinese feel bad about it, some of them are saying, look, we should do something to help out. And, you know, out of solidarity, I think that's a good thing. Was it a mistake to lock down the one area which made a lot of people catch trains all over Italy? See, the problem with that, Mike Bears, was they leaked the information before, so everybody jumped on a train and got out of there. So it was more, the problem was the leak, not so much the actual area where there were people trying to escape from. I blame bats. It's not the bats' fault. It's eating, allegedly. It's eating them, that's the problem. I like my quantitative easing joke. I thought it was funny anyway. About the sheets, printing more sheets. Sorry if I don't read all the comments because I miss some of them when I start blabbing. So, the most populous country, it is being affected by more deaths will come from it. I fear for the UK. So guys, if you just joined the stream, what I was talking about, we can look at this video once again. Let me just open it's quite a shocking video, but
is indeed to achieve herd immunity.
So
the only way to.
So what they're talking about here is herd immunity. So this is Boris Johnson's solution. Alleged solution to the crisis. So we can watch the video if I think some of you have just joined the stream or whatever, so you haven't seen it. I want you to see this video because it's important. Then I'll show you what I was talking about before.
Stop this epidemic is indeed to achieve herd immunity.
Okay, Thomas Perry, you're shaking your head, and now you've got your head buried in your hands. What's your response to what John Edmonds just said?
This is like deciding, you know what, this forest might burn, so let's cut a third of it. This is crazy. We want to have 10, 20, 30% of the population catch this. The UK has, what, 66 million people? That's how many people? That's around 20 million people. 1% of these people are going to die. So we're saying we want to kill 200,000 people in the UK. So that's...
I don't think anyone is saying that. I don't think anyone is saying that. But I think there is a real debate in the scientific community going on about the value of herd immunity. So just briefly, what do you think about the value of herd immunity, and can it be created through the measures that the government is introducing right now?
We need to understand what it means, this herd immunity. They're saying everybody's going to catch it. So once they catch it, they can't catch it anymore. That's crazy. We don't want people to catch it. We want people not to catch it, because otherwise they're going to die. And right now the cases are going exponentially. In a week, the NHS is starting to be collapsed. In 2 weeks, it's going to be completely collapsed if we don't take measures now. And people are going to panic, maybe not today if we don't take the measures, but they're going to definitely panic next week or in 2 weeks. We have 13 days of advance compared to Italy, right? They thought the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. And then 1 week later, they realized, oh my God, this is exploding. They have now, what, 17,000 cases? Mm-hmm. It's exploding then. They realized too late that they were not containing this. UK now has an opportunity to catch this before the weekend, and we need to catch this before the weekend, because everybody's going to spread this with their friends, with their families that they haven't been seeing during the week. So it needs to be declared now. Okay. That's why.
Thomas, let's bring in John. I mean, has he got a point here? We've got to catch this right now.
There's two things. There's two strategies with a new virus, a new epidemic. There's two strategies. One, you can stamp out every single case in the world, every single case in the world, and then the virus, then you're free. You've stopped that epidemic without achieving herd immunity, but you must catch every single case in the world. When the mild disease, that's incredibly difficult. That's the phase that we were in when we were trying to do containment and everybody else was trying to do containment, yeah? Trying to stamp out every single case in the world. It hasn't worked, yeah? We haven't managed to do that. The next phase, when the genie is out of the bottle, the virus is all around the world and spreading, the next phase, the only other way that the epidemic is going to come to a stop is achieving herd immunity.
Okay. Night Raven, thank you very much for that for that donation. Fantastic. Thanks very much. So I missed some of the comments, so I just go back up slightly. Glasgow Kiss said, how is life for you, Max? Has it changed much? So this week, everything has gone really quiet. So I was saying at the beginning, sorry, you probably weren't here. I'm coughing again now. It's clearing my throat. So this morning, today I had to go to the pharmacy, and in the pharmacy last week, there was maximum 4 people permitted inside. Now it's 1 person. And when I went in, the pharmacist was wearing a mask and gloves and everything, and I felt somewhat, how can I say, not naked, but not clothed enough. And then I went to the supermarket, and it was quite a similar situation where we had a limit on how many people can go inside. So this is just after, compared to last week, people were talking about this, but there weren't really any restrictions. Sorry. But now, and this is only day 2, we have another 2 weeks of this. I think people are going to go crazy. Marquez said, Max, I heard the region where the first appeared has a lot of anti-vaxxers. Is that true? I think the first region was in Milan, so probably you'd find lots of anti-vaxxers, but I don't think it's related to anti-vaxxers. Also because we don't have a vaccine for this. Glasgow Kiss, thank you very much for another donation. You're too kind. So I can't see if you wrote something below. I'm sorry. Write it in the chat as well. So in case, because if you give a donation, I don't see the text. Fortunately, on my screen, I can't see it. Scott's dog said, my joke was that it was quantitative easing that gave rise to the need for toilet paper in the first place. So I'll just jump down. Yeah, so this thing of herd immunity starts with a sore throat, then goes on to a cough. Next, it's Zombie Max. But I still be doing the live streams, even a zombie style. Is that video on Max's Twitter? What I'll do is I'll share it on Twitter. So if you want to see it again yourself. So retweet. Okay. So what I want to do, I found this image online. So I was just saying about this before. How to donate? There should be a link. I'll post the link here. Okay. So the herd immunity, so we have here in the blue, I don't know if you can see my cursor. In the blue you have, sorry, the screen has gone a bit strange. Okay, in the blue you have not immunized but still healthy. Yellow, immunized and healthy. And then not immunized, red, and contagious in red. Sick and contagious. So, it's very easy to see here how just a small number of people who are ill can infect the entire population. If we go to the second possibility here, we have some of the population get immunized, which would be an ideal case, I think. Later on, when a vaccine is produced, more and more people get immunized. You already answered, Max, just asking how. Okay, thanks. So in the second example, we have some of the population get immunized. So these are in yellow and they're healthy. And then we have a mix with contagious people. This, of course, does damage, but a certain number of the population are protected because they are already immunized. And then most of the population get immunized. In the third example, spread of the contagious disease is contained because most people are protected. And also people, we can see here in the third example, there are people who are not immunized, but they're protected by the herd. Now, the problem in the UK is that there will be nobody immunized because there isn't a vaccine yet. So what Boris Johnson is talking about is not really herd immunity. It's this first example, which is just we kill off people until we get to a stage where there's no one left to be killed off because everyone is too strong. The herd immunity is an experiment with the whole UK where they have the equivalence of measles party. Yeah, pretty much. They could have the calendar, the Maximilian live stream zombie apocalypse. Tasteful, nutty, nudie calendar. Hi, Pauline Morgan. Love you, Max, but I'm off to watch the Alan Partridge. Oh, fantastic, Alan. I love Alan Partridge. To cheer myself up. Do. Good. There was I think it was one of the latest episodes of Alan Partridge where he's talking to an old lady who said, "Oh, I came out of the supermarket and there was a policeman who was giving me a fine." That was a funny sketch. A second person that visited Mar-a-Lago is reported to have tested positive. More and more sick people. More and more people around Trump are getting sick. I still think Trump is probably infected, but he's trying to hide it. But, how long can he hide it? If he's seriously ill, this could have some serious consequences for the US. Would Trump remain in office if he's ill? Could he die? Or at least be incapacitated? Then what would happen? Would there be a general election? Then, no, probably Mike Pence would take over. But then what would happen in November? And also the problem in the US in November is, okay, if they are able to control this disease, this illness, what happens if it comes back with a vengeance later in the year? Will they have to cancel the election? Max, please note that having had this disease does not go to immunize you. You can get it again. Yes, well said, Michael. That was there was a man in China or Japan who actually recovered and then got it again. Max, what's your favorite sitcom in the UK? We loved Father Ted. I love Father Ted. More modern, I love a Peep Show. Have you seen Peep Show? Or The Office, the original Office is probably the best for me. I love British comedy. No offense to Americans, but I love British comedy. It's the best. Because it's so realistic, I think. There's nothing fake about it. And Peep Show and The Office probably are my favorites. Pence got to get it. But then, if Pence gets it as well. I saw pictures of Pence shaking hands with people. Oh my God. Many people may already have the flu and not being aware. That's another problem. Maybe I have it and I don't know. That's why I told you in the last stream to put, masks over your speakers, just in case. Drink feck girls' knickers. I love my brick. The thick of it, I'm not familiar with it, but I saw a clip on YouTube by accident. So I was looking for something by Ricky Gervais, actually, and I found The Thick of It, and I was like, oh, what's that? And I watched a scene where there was, it's Scottish, is it? I don't remember. But there was a guy yelling at 2 colleagues or 3 colleagues about some files being deleted off a server or something like that. Do you get it there, or do you stream? I normally find everything on YouTube or stream it. I can't really get anything British here. Also, I don't have Sky, so that'll be an ecumenical matter. Commons is a eugenist. eugenicist. Remember the guy they sacked for saying quiet stuff out loud? Yes. Chewing the fat, still game. The Scots Squad. No, I have to check those out. Wonder if old people will go out and vote for Bernie in the next primary. Might help Bernie. I don't know. You know, the American people are, some of the news networks are talking about, well, maybe this Medicare for all would actually be a good idea. A bit late for that now, I think. With Biden in charge, or Biden in the lead. I'm aware of 2 strains of the virus. You said thicket? My brain said Father Ted. No, I don't get it. Just got an update from Rebecca, Adam's wife, about £60,000 a day on lost turnover, but UK trucks are running 100% and they need more. Wow, £60,000. Are they able to write that off? Are they able to get it back from the insurance? Has Italy got the more aggressive virus? I don't know which strain they have, but whatever strain it is, it's a bad one. Said phasers to Malky. Didn't some government agency in the US predict 70 million to 150 million people in the US would become infected? That could happen. So I think there are a number of things. Could November 2020 election be delayed and put off? It could be. Some people are talking about having a write-in vote instead, you know, a mail-in vote, which could be possible if they but that would require a lot of time. You know, people would have to vote in advance, maybe a month in advance, and I don't know if many people would be willing to do that or could do that, because there'd be a lot of requirements, you know, paperwork, whatever, that many people may not be bothered to do. Do you think the people will jump on Boris because he said will lose all you loved ones? Do you think people will make PM to quit, have a general election? At the moment, no. But Seduction Asylum is a fantastic name. I think at the moment Boris is okay, but when things start to get bad, see, at least here in Italy, the government said we have to do this, this and this. And the majority of people understand, yeah, we have to do that. Otherwise, we're going to have serious impact on our society. Now, if Boris is saying we're not going to do anything, we're just going to let it run its course. When old people start dying, when the NHS starts to collapse, people are not going to say, well, we just have to let it run its course. People are going to get angry. Now, what the British people will do when they get angry, it depends on them. You know, are they like the French? They'll, you know, tear the place down. Or will they say, look, we'll let Boris knows best. But Boris is a very polarizing person, a very polarizing politician. I don't think he's able to command the support of the people. It's not like 1940. You know, everyone is behind Winston Churchill. Boris is not like that. And why? Because he's been lying to people for so long. And there isn't a great love for politicians in the UK, so I can't see Biden surviving the coronavirus. If he gets it, he's finished, I think. I think all of them are, you know, even Bernie, like I like Bernie, but if Bernie got it, he'd be over, he'd be finished. Biden the same. Also Trump. You know, Trump is not in good shape. Like, he's not in good shape even when he's not sick. There's been an announcement, Mac, that all the mass gatherings in the UK will be banned in the UK from next week. So things are, see, this is the thing. So this flies in the face of this video here, that they said the government are not going to do anything, they're going to let it run. But if they're banning mass gatherings, then they're doing some type of limitation. So are they limiting movement, or are they not limiting it? It doesn't make a lot. It sounds very haphazard. Most Trump supporters are in the risk category, yes. Older people. And, Trump was talking about having rallies. At least Bernie and Biden said, look, we're not going to have any rallies because there's a risk. As far as I know, Trump is still going ahead with his rallies. That's extremely irresponsible. But then it's Trump we're talking about. At best, Boris is a useful tool for people. No one will care for him when he loses power. You mean like the French? Everyone who gets rich gets gets the guillotine. Yes and no. It comes from Rashida Tarid. Congress attending physician told the Senate that he expects between 70 and 150 million people. That doesn't mean, okay, let's say between 70 and 50 and 100, so 100 million people infected. 1%, how much is that, guys? I'm not going to do it because my maths is absolutely terrible. I assume it's 1 million people. Like 1 million people dead. And it's not over months. It's in a couple of weeks. Here in Italy, 1,000 dead in a few weeks. In the US, 1 million dead is quite easily possible. I think there are a number of factors. Maybe the weather could be a factor. If you're in a hot climate, does it help restrict the movement of the spread? If you're in Florida or somewhere like that, hot and humid, what about cold climates? I think there are a number of different factors. While if you look at the UK, the climate is pretty much homogeneous. The same in Italy, to a certain extent. Just sent Adam and Bex the link to the live stream. Thank you very much, QA Library. If they want to come on and let us know their situation, that'd be great. Premier League will be postponed, but they'll let 250,000 people congregate in Cheltenham Festival. I shared that as, what is going on? Like, it's really taking the piss, isn't it? But also the football league was cancelled. That was good, but they were talking about having matches played without fans. And people were saying, "Oh, that's okay because they won't have any fans there." Yes, but people would go and congregate in pubs to watch the matches, or congregate in homes, which would just spread the disease as well. Not as badly as a stadium, but still, would help it. If it's I really wonder if it's a man-made virus. It seems too convenient that Johnson has his distraction from everything. Well, I think Boris Johnson was creating distractions. So, if it's 1 week, it's one issue. It's another week, the baby, and then there was the Priti Patel issue, and so there was always, he had a long list of distractions. So I wouldn't go with the idea that it was it's a direct hit. No insurance will cover us for loss of business. I'm so sorry for that. 60,000. The main reason for delaying the hot weather is so that the other complications and infections are minimized, making it easier to treat. Electronic Freak. Bit late getting in to tune in. I'm sorry about the time, because I sometimes do the streams a bit later, but tonight I did it a bit earlier. So I work for a French company in the UK, and they had our global directive delivered today. No more ça va, handshake and kiss, or meetings unless apart. Yeah, people here are the same. 1 meter minimum. No more handshakes or anything like that. I think this is going to be sad, because at what stage will we know that it's okay to handshake again? Would somebody just try it? Will it be broadcast? Okay, now you can handshake. Will it be a gradual thing? Will it be just one day everyone will start handshaking again? It's a little sad aspect of the impact of this virus. Labour tried to nick the SNP manifesto, so not an unreasonable assumption there. You think that there's any chance of Boris to extend the transition period? Because I think he'll extend it. And he'll say, look, the virus is the problem. It's not my fault, but we have to extend it. The European Union are not going to meet with us, so we'll have to extend it. Probably. Although that could change. It depends on, how the next couple of months, how they progress. But I think it's probably likely that they'll extend the transition period. And then after a month or whatever, just crash out. Hope you're feeling better. Take care. Thanks and enjoy this. Thank you very much, Val. Bat soup. Bioweapons factory there. Estimate in UK it's up to 80% could be infected. Not all at once. If that was the US mortality rate, that would be 3 to 4 million. In the UK, 500,000, but these are worst case, could be 10 times less. And just bow like Japanese. Yes. We adapt to no handshake, and we always have Vulcan salute. Wakana forever. And do you think he's going to go for 1 or 2 years? I think it's too early to tell. Seduction. I think we have to pass through this scenario first, and then we'll be able to see. Probably, I think he'd go for the lesser of the two. So he'd go for a year. If there was an option of 1 or 2 years, I think he'd go for 1 year only, because he'd want to get out as soon as possible. At the end of the day, we'll get through it. Sadly, some of us won't. I know. The amount of flu cases has gone down because people have been doing what they're supposed to do and wash their friggin' hands and not going into work. Exactly, Mark. Jacob Rees-Mogg said absolutely no need to extend Brexit transition. Well, Jacob Rees-Mogg would say that. He's still living in the 1800s. There's a question, Max. Have Italians stopped kissing random people at the drop of a hat? Yes, they have. Who did I see? I don't normally kiss people. I don't know, but I think it was yesterday. I elbow bumped someone to say hello. This is the new way we have to do it. But yeah, people are maintaining a 1 meter of distance. I'm surprised how people went along with it. People just, okay, yeah, the government said it, we'll do it. In the normal year, 16,000-ish people will die of seasonal flu, but bad year 30,000, and in 1 year due to virus changing, the flu jab not working, as it was 60,000 dead 1 year. But for this, it'd be 500,000 probably. Handshaking, step, don scuba diving outfit, don the yellow fish, they dive the fellow hand, shaki, shake hands, surface, wash hands, use Dyson hand dryer and blow. I was talking on Twitter, or was it Facebook, some years ago, I was saying, why do people not wash their hands when they go to the bathroom? And many people are saying, oh, I don't care. Or, urine is sterile was one comment. I was like, what? Now people are washing their damn hands. I don't know if you saw the image of the child licking the barrier was a bar, for people who are waiting at the train station or airport or whatever. There was a metal bar, and there was a young child licking it. I was like, oh my God. I guess if she doesn't get it, she's not going to get anything. 1800s is way too modern for Jacob Rees-Mogg. We were told here to sneeze into our elbow. Yeah, not into your hands, because it will stay on your hands. Manky bastard. Washing hands. I haven't heard that word in a while, manky. It's quite used a lot in Ireland as well. Local elections delayed until 2021. Negotiations should be too. What? No beardy kiss from Max. Or Eskimo kiss on the nose. Rubbing noses. John Smith, the most infectious stage is just before the symptoms. Yes, so there are thousands of people going around with the virus, but not knowing it. So Jacob Rees-Mogg went to Eton and Oxford, but it was 100 years ago. That's why they have good immunity. Some random question: will all this constant sanitizing cause more bacteria? This is the thing. People are abusing. It's like antibiotics as well. People have been abusing antibiotics for years. I feel a bit of a runny nose. Okay, take an antibiotic, or the doctor, take these antibiotics. And I think it's built up a type of immunity to the antibiotics, and I think it's also a risk with these hand sanitizers. They were talking about it here in Italy a few years ago, how children in the 70s and 80s would eat dirt, from the ground. Things would fall on the floor, they'd pick them up and they'd eat them, a sweet or whatever. And recently in the last 20 years, we've become cleaning freaks, where we, the child, if something falls on the floor, we pick it up, we, a toy or something, we sanitize it, we clean it with bleach or whatever, and then we spray, the child's hands, and then we hand it back to them. And it destroys their immunity, destroys their entire immune system. And there is a risk, yes, that, us using all of these hand sanitizers are going to save us from one thing, but expose us to another. I sound really old, talking about, in the good old days we used to do this or that. I sound like Jacob Rees-Mogg. What if the coronavirus crisis will still be on in June or July? June will be far from over. You think that Boris will extend transition period 1 or 2 years because he chooses? See, I think it still depends on the virus situation. In June, I don't think it'll be completely over. But getting licked in the face by a dog is way more unhygienic. No, dogs have something in their saliva, allegedly, that is antibacterial. So if you have a wound or something, a dog will actually lick the wound. It mightn't completely help, but it does allegedly help reduce the infection from bacteria. Eating dirt was how we would form our immune system, but now we've sterilized ourselves. Yes, George. Back in my day, we ate dirt all the time. Because in Scotland we didn't have food. The English wouldn't allow us food, so we ate dirt. The same in Ireland. No, I'm joking. Let's wear stockings and knee breeches to cure the virus. So there was another video. I'm going to show it to you now. Just so chat amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in just a moment. Where is it?
Wales to talk to colleagues.
Bring out your dad. Okay, so this is the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock. It says, I've been to Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales today to discuss our nationwide plan to tackle coronavirus. We're listening to experts and taking the right approach at the right time. So let's hear what he has to say.
I've been to Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales to talk to colleagues right across the country about our UK-wide action plan for dealing with coronavirus. We'll stop at nothing to defeat this virus and to support people, especially the most vulnerable. The response that we're taking is based on the very best science, and we've got to do the right thing at the right time. I think it's important that we listen right across the country to voices about how we get this right and work together, because truly this is a national effort to beat this virus. I've been to Scotland, Northern Ireland.
Okay, but the response is they're using science, but they're using some science. That, as we saw before, stop at nothing. Yes, look. They're talking about allowing a certain number of people to die. That's not stopping at nothing. That's not doing anything. Hoping that it will run its course. Hoping it'll run its course is not stopping it, is not doing something. Spreading the virus, the idiot. They didn't listen to experts and scientists over Brexit. Use handbrake cleaner to sanitize hands. Not what Rory Stewart is saying. It's cherry picked isn't science. See, this is my fear, is that, you know, they have asked a group of scientists, which of you agree with our point of view? And they found some scientists that agree with their point of view. And then they say, okay, we'll go with these as the scientists. Because the World Health Organization disagrees with this. Now, is the World Health Organization an authority on health? Pretty much. Are they always right? Maybe not. But is this scientifically driven or is it ideologically driven? Is Boris Johnson the type of person to listen to experts? Or is Boris Johnson the type of person to listen to himself? Or maybe Dominic Cummings. This is my fear. Is this scientifically driven, or is it driven by, you know, someone like Dominic Cummings? See, and Barry says, you know, eugenics. Is this the idea, you know, is it a problem of eugenics here, that we want to cull a certain amount of the population? You know, I don't like buying into conspiracy theories, but is that what the Tories want to do? They want to kill off half the or a tenth of the population that they deem, you know, necessary. I was really struck by that comment on Novara Media. They had that live stream on a few hours ago, where they said, you know, the European countries are looking at protecting their people. The UK is looking towards protecting the economy. Now, that's what they said. Now, it's not my words, but it struck me as, you know, is that true? Because if you're allowing certain older people, sick people, the homeless to die, then you're not caring about people, you're caring about protecting the economy. Because if the healthy people survive, then they'll be back at work, everything will be back to normal, and there'll be less of a strain. And these are not my words, I'm just attempting to get inside Boris Johnson and Matt Hancock's head. But there'll be less of a strain on our society if we have, a more streamlined NHS, if we have fewer older people, fewer homeless people. Not because we got rid of homelessness, but because we got rid of homeless people. We don't have to pay for these anymore. So then we're able to cut taxes or whatever for the rich. I don't like going down that road, but I'm in a way forced to go down that road. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. I'm on Patreon, yes. I have a special offer from my Patreons where if you want, I can make a special video on a topic that you want specifically. I have a bit of a queue, so I'm going to... if I don't make a video for you immediately, I will eventually get around to it. But back on this, what is the Tory goal here? Is it to protect the public? Because if it was to protect the public, the first thing you would do is close schools, close shopping centres, close places where people congregate, limit the space, like what they're doing here in Italy, like what they're doing in China. Here in the US, number 45 initially called COVID-19 a hoax, yes. His intention is that many will die. He's been around several who have been positive for virus, but won't get tested. He doesn't want to get tested. Well, he probably was tested. Of course he was tested. He's the president. He has to be tested. But he's probably negative or positive, and he doesn't want it to get out. What's the alternative? If it was negative, then he'd say, look, I tested negative, I'm fine. Phil did a brilliant video today on how afraid the UK should be about Boris Johnson right now. I'll check it out. I haven't seen it. I haven't checked out much on YouTube today, so I will check it out. All the old folk dying and passing on inheritance, with inheritance for the rich ones. Ease the NHS burden and pops more into government coffers. Just a cynical view. But maybe it's true, Darren. Whoever donates, make sure the first video request is make a nude calendar. Killer, you're terrible. You're a killer. I'm a Patreon of Max, it's true. We Scott Stokes, so I think you sent me a message recently, so I have to respond to you. Sorry I didn't. The whole shtick of the Tories seem to be avoid looking as incompetent as they are, and denying reality seems the only option for them. Max, how do you think the poor people with dealing with the shutdown? Do you think poor people are dealing here in Italy, Diano, or do you think in the UK? Well, in Italy, poor people, as far as I know, some people are getting support. I haven't got any support. I don't really know how to. There hasn't been any information about it. Although my wife has a full-time contract, I work with we call it a libero professionista, which is a sole trader. So I do business courses, and that's all stopped. So I don't know what sort of support there is for those people. But in Italy. But poor people, I don't know. The state normally help people out. You can go to your local town hall, and they'll fast track you through to some sort of public assistance. But it's for a short period, so people will get assistance. But for how long, I don't know. It could be for a couple of months. But I haven't heard very much about it. Unfortunately, I can't give you any more information. But for example, homeless people, I don't know what their situation is. I think there are many charities attempting to help them out. But the problem also for the charities is it's difficult to travel around because you need permits to travel around. You're not allowed to go so freely from one town to the next. So it's a desperate situation. Like, I'm quite fortunate where I am because we have everything near us, so we don't have to go around very much. But I can imagine people who have to travel for work, or they have to, if they have children and they have to take them to grandparents or whatever, because the grandparents are a sort of safety net, social safety net here in Italy. Many people who are working, the grandparents look after the kids. But people dealing with the homeless, I don't know. It probably many of them can't get out because they, you're not allowed to congregate. And if you have a large number of homeless people, or you have a lot of volunteers going out, it can be a problem. I'll look into that because it's an interesting topic to look at and to deal with, because we tend to look at people isolating. Okay, you're isolated, you have maybe some assistance from the government or whatever, but homeless people, what are they supposed to do? And the very poor, or people with kids, and they have to work, or they have to work from home. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Max, do you think if the transition period will be extended to 2 years by Boris, there'll be a general election in the summer? No, there won't be a general election. Boris has his 80-seat majority. Do you think Keir Starmer will get a Norway type of deal with the EU? No, I think, well, in the future, after Boris Johnson, perhaps. But that's too far in the future to predict, I'm afraid. The reality is, without testing everyone, they cannot contain it, so all they can do is manage it. I don't think the medics will let Boris make the plan. They know he's a buffoon. See, who's in charge? Is Boris in charge? Are the scientists in charge? Is Dominic Cummings in charge? This is the thing I don't understand. It's very difficult to understand. Allegedly, according to the media, according to the government, Boris Johnson is in charge. But is he really? Who should the scientists not be in charge? Boris Johnson says, look, here to the scientists, whatever you need, I'll give you the resources you need, sort this problem out. That's the way I think it should be. But I don't know if that's the case. If you're getting comments like, we're going to let it run its course, that doesn't sound like what the scientists would be doing. The scientists, I don't like to use a bad example here, but in any movie you've seen where there's a virus, have you ever seen a case where the scientists said, look, we just have to let it run its course, it'll kill 100,000 people, but wait, what can we do? I've never seen that. I know a movie is not the best example, but if you saw it in a movie, you say, oh, that's a crappy movie, that's not very realistic. Normally the scientists are the ones who are fighting to try and help people, to save lives, especially doctors. So this policy of just letting it run its course, who decided that? You might have had this question already, but do you think coronavirus will cost Trump the election? I don't think so, because voters are not very clever. Now, it could cost him indirectly if it's the economy. So if the economy goes to hell because of the coronavirus, which is guaranteed to happen. Here in Italy, the lockdown is causing a huge amount of problems, and I can only imagine the long-term costs. So it will damage the economy. Now, the amount of damage it will do. See, Boris, I was going to say Boris Johnson. Donald Trump could do something like, the economy could be going to crap, and then, a few days before the election, pump $1 trillion into the stock market. And that could convince some people, oh, look, everything's good again because the stock market is doing well, which is a terrible barometer. And that could get him across the line. But it's more, I believe it's more the economy that people vote on than actual crisis like this. Because many people thought back in 2004, okay, the Iraq war has been a disaster. George W. Bush will be removed from office, but he wasn't, because the economy was doing quite well. The Iraq war was a disaster, but he survived. Dominic Cummings is in charge, don't you know? Bozo is just the front man for the band of morons. Somebody should do a picture of that. Boris and the band of morons. The people in charge are the people who seem to forget it. Boris won't want to make the call. He will leave it to the medics. Do you think Boris is keeping power center ambiguous? So if it goes wrong, he can lay blame at the experts? And that's probably true. The flu is the best example of what you say. Let it kill 200,000 people a year by not making people panicking about it. No, they are waiting to take the major actions at the right moment. The chat is moving too fast. Let me scroll back up. Max, do you know? So I think very low of Boris, but I agree. His comments are poor at times, but I've been listening to various scientific sources, and it seems the UK government is in line with scientific advice. I have to agree with the Wee Scots dog. I think the UK has got a strategy right so far. Official government policy or just speculation? Hi Nathan. So the UK government has it right so far. I assume what you mean by up until this moment, not the idea of the herd immunity. I'm confused about that, because I would have thought acting immediately would be the better solution. Not waiting for it to arrive, but being proactive, not reactive. But if the scientists say it's better to be reactive than proactive, I guess from the point of view you don't want to panic people if people get panicked. But I think I don't think the British people would panic, apart from the toilet paper fiasco. I don't think, apart from that toilet paper problem, I think most people would say, well, it's a good idea. But then there is, I guess, the other side of the coin. If people don't think there's a risk, they're not going to do anything. So you could say, please wash your hands or whatever, and people say, what's the point? There's no problem. So I guess, yeah, maybe what the policy so far is correct, but I still don't think the herd immunity solution is the best. How do restaurants and hotels cope economically in Italy? So I think the European Union are organizing a package to help hotels and restaurants, but at the moment everything is closed. So until last week, restaurants had to close at 6 p.m. So they could open at 6 and close at 6 p.m., which meant that they could serve lunch, but they couldn't serve dinner, because here in Italy people eat dinner at 7 or 8 o'clock, which is a huge shock when I tell them that British people eat dinner at 5 o'clock or in Ireland on Sunday at 2 o'clock. But most restaurants were closed at 6, so they couldn't serve dinner, which was a big problem for them. And now they're completely closed. So I think the government are organising some sort of packages, compensation. But I don't know how long it's for. Max, we need to be proactive. People's lives are at risk. I understand Scraggy Bear, but the problem is many times when you are overly proactive, people will think, well, what's the point? if people were told back 3 months ago, you should wash your hands when you go to the bathroom, how many people would react and say, oh, that's a good idea, I'm going to do that? They need maybe a disaster in order to react to it. It's sad, but it seems to be the truth. The Irish vote, I don't understand that. Herd immunity can come about in two routes. Most of the population have disease at some point, 12 to 18 months later. There is a vaccine and enough get vaccinated. But at what cost, Scott's dog? Like, how many people need to die in that 12 to 18 month period while they could be restricted and you could reduce proactive governments have later been punished by others who were reactive. Croatia have closed their borders with less than 30 cases. Stop using herd immunity for that situation. We have our governments not really explained. There is 2 strains of the new virus and it's mutating, like the Enigma machine that keeps on changing its own code. Mark my words, next week the UK will reach the same numbers as Italy for doing nothing. If the UK reaches the same numbers as Italy next week, what will Boris Johnson do? Because trying to implement the controls, then people will be like, "Holy crap!" and you're going to destroy the NHS because they wouldn't have been prepared. Did you see James O'Brien's video about the guys in the UK motorway service almost completely about how they should wash their hands? Quite funny. No, I haven't seen that. I'll check it out, Darren. I'm not recommending herd immunity through infection. I'm saying that if they can delay it till vaccine, that is the goal. No, I think, personally, I think the best solution is containing people, looking for a vaccine, vaccinating, and then reducing the restrictions. But you need... but now I don't know if that would work if the virus mutates. Would the people still be protected? Maybe not. Maybe some would. I have no idea. I'm not very well versed on viruses. So, or would people who would survive the first hit, the first clash with the virus, survive it the second time? But this has been proved to be false because some man who actually survived it got it again, so it didn't protect him. The fact that there may be seasonal regarding Surgeon General's statement mean resistance to infection may become a thing. So a lot of unknowns. A lot of this could, if, or this might, if. Most likely we won't hear anything from Boris, just speculation about him being ill. Does the UK Army have healthcare capacities? That's another question, because if there's a necessity to use the army, will they have the capacity to deal with that? The numbers need to be slowed down like they have done in China. Only then can the NHS cope. When I talk about the problem we have in Ireland with the Northern Ireland government following Boris, this is interesting. Yeah, Andy, classy Andy. Thank you. You understood what I meant. Max, we bloody agree. Okay, sorry. We Scott's dog. I'm sick, remember. So the situation in Northern Ireland where you have Northern Ireland going in one direction and the Republic of Ireland going another direction, that's going to cause some problems, because you need to have, because they're an island, you need to have a coordinated approach. If you go whatever way it is, if it's choosing the Northern Ireland way or the Republic way, both of them have to go in the same direction because they share so much territory. My mum's colleague is in self-quarantine because she hugged a fellow nurse at a wedding who was treating coronavirus patient. The dude was also visibly sick and not even wearing a mask. I know, build a wall to protect Mexico. I'm looking at the polling averages. Sorry, I forgot you gave coronavirus. I'm looking at the polling averages. It looks like Trump's botched response is hurting his approval rating, and Biden and Sanders are up. Will they survive? They're quite old. The UK is probably looking at over 20 million cases by 14 weeks, deepening on social distancing measures. Romania entered in phase 3 soon. 6 cases. They need coronavirus. Getting worse than in Italy because the hospital and healthcare services don't compare with Italy. Yeah, so in Romania, Italy, something fortunate about, at least in the north of Italy, is that we have a very high level, high standard of healthcare. The hospitals are some of the best in the world. But so I'm reading the comments here. But in Romania, for example, I don't know, or Albania, some of the Eastern Bloc countries, they don't have the same standards, and I fear that they're not going to be able to deal with it. They'll have to call in the army, and they're not the best to deal with that. They're better at controlling, but not at curing. Damn it, does this thing have manual dexterity? Affect manual dexterity. Seen on a Pac-Man video that Israel is so many weeks away from producing a vaccine. Also a lab in Illinois. Might be somewhere else making a similar claim. I think from what I've read, a vaccine is normally at least a year away. Because it has to be tested, it has to be trialed. It needs a long time. In Scotland, there's a vaccine, but the human trials will take months. Nice to see you're still alive. You never write. You never call yet. Looking at the 2020 betting, Joe Biden jumped past Trump to be number 1 slot. Wow. That's interesting. Trump is going to panic now because he was in such a good position. My next question, Max, are your family doing okay here? You spoke about your dad a few weeks ago. My folks won't let me near them because I sneezed today. So my dad in Ireland is fine. He's with my sister. But she's a paramedic, so I'm a bit worried about him. He's almost 80 and he had some health issues last year. But she knows best. My family here, my wife's family, we haven't seen them in over a week because we're under lockdown and we don't really have permission to go. My wife for some reason isn't all that bothered about going. Italians are normally quite clingy to each other, especially to family. But for a while she said, no, it's okay. We can see them sometime soon. So they're always on the phone to each other anyway. Thank you, Glasgow Kiss. Scott's dog, I hope I haven't offended you. I don't see you writing anymore, so I hope I didn't offend you. The coronavirus is getting to my brain, so Please forgive me. I reckon that the UK will draft the Army Medical Corps into the NHS. Anybody remember? A few years ago, when the UK quietly rolled up their ex-military teachers. I remember that, yes. I don't remember how it went. Progressives online are underestimating how well Biden will do in general election. I think with this virus, if it doesn't work out well, I think whatever Trump throws at Biden, Biden can respond, yeah, but the virus, look, you weren't able to deal with it. And, people died on your watch. I had Hunter Biden, that was a bit of corruption, whatever, but what about what you did? I think that could sink Trump. And look at the economy. So it depends on what the situation is in November, October, November. Of course you didn't offend me, Dafty. Okay. You're very dear to me. I don't want to offend my favourite commenters. I'm a product of modern medias. I'll only panic if the COVID-19 raises the deads. So if now I won't panic and stay home with all the supplies I raided in the shop earlier. Hospital and clinics are old-fashioned, and old-fashioned standards of hygiene, soap, water, and bleach break surfaces on which viruses breed. Yes. Tell me something, Max. How you can't leave your home for any reason? How does that work? Well, no, I can leave Carmona. I can leave, but if I want to go from town to town, because where I live is a very, very small town. It's tiny. We have 2 supermarkets, very small supermarkets. We have 2 restaurants, but they're quite small, and we have a bar, pizzeria, and whatever. But it's a very small town. But if I want to travel to visit my parents-in-law, or just to somewhere more interesting, I need to have a certification printed out from my local town hall. I have to print it out and write on it the reason why I'm going somewhere. Because if I'm stopped by the police and I don't have a proper justification, I could be fined a few €1,000 and I could spend 3 months in jail. So I don't want to do either of those things because I like doing streams. So it is quite restricting. They also have been telling people to stay in their homes, not to be wandering around. So if the government are saying that they have a good reason and it's probably the right thing to do, it could be an exaggeration, but it's probably better to play it safe. So I don't wander much outside my garden. I have a little garden, but even that, I stay inside. I don't want the police to stop me. What are you doing? You should be inside your home. But I did have a meeting with the police today. DK Mail, hi. I was returning from the pharmacy and the police stopped me. They did a normal check. Normally the police here in Italy, they're called the Carabinieri. They're like the military police, but they're police. And they stop and they normally ask for your driving license and your car documents. And they checked that and they said, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" I said, "I just went to the pharmacy." They asked for the receipt to prove that I had gone to the pharmacy. So I showed them the receipt and they were, "Okay, go ahead." I said, "You shouldn't be driving around." I said, "Yeah, but I have to go to the pharmacy." They make jokes about this type of police over here. They're not very clever people. Hit the like button. Yes, please do. Thank you, Killer. Mark Franks, good night. Have a good one. I'll need to close the stream soon because tomorrow morning I have to go to another place and I need another certification. As we say in Italy, capalle, which means what balls. Capalle, which is you say what a pain. It's another way to say what a pain. regarding the Bulgarian hospitals, which have been world-class clinicians. See. So far, the only people the police would stop from going around here in Denmark would be the people who are supposed to be in quarantine. Yeah, well, that's it's good to limit the movement of people who are in quarantine. They don't want any crowds turning on them. I support Sanders, but I almost wish Biden ran in 2016 instead of or against Hillary. Yeah, if Biden would have had a better chance against Trump in 2016. But today, I think he'll be lucky to beat Trump, but it'll be because of Trump, because Trump will fail, not because Biden will win. But it's looking more and more likely, almost guaranteed, that it'll be Biden who will. But, you know, what if Biden got sick between now and the election? Now and the end of the primary, could they have a convention at the convention? Will they have a convention? You know, if they have a convention, maybe they could replace Biden if he got sick. It's not, you know, beyond the reason that it could happen. Time for bed for me too. So good night all. Be safe, be well. Thank you very much, Darren. Have a good one. Me too. I better. I'll give another 5 minutes. I love doing these streams. You guys are the best. So I always say I'll just do 1 hour and then I do like 3 hours. They wanted to know where you got the hand gel from. So are you guys hoarding stuff? Toilet paper, I hope not. You know, share the toilet paper around, guys. Don't be hoarding it for yourself. I hope Sanders can somehow become president. He would show socialism works. It'd be interesting to see the crime figures in a few weeks' time in your another. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that today, QA Library. How I was saying it to my wife. Actually, you know, I imagine the crime figures have dropped completely because, first of all, everyone's at home. You know, no one. Normally, the crimes are committed when people are away from their homes, so that's gone. Good night, 95 Winston. Near the end of the stream, folks. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss, for that comment. If you guys can come on Patreon, that'd be great. Good night, Susan. Stay well. So if people are going off and I'm still talking, good night to you all, and stay safe. Wash your hands. Armitage, good night. Wash your hands before bed. Yes. Although they said, was it masturbation increases immunity? So, but always wash your hands after, of course. They're ramping up the production and stockpiling of large amounts of medical oxygen where I live. It's like we're getting ready for the apocalypse. 274727. Where are you from? Where are you living? Max, the live stream doesn't keep running, by the way. Oh no. Good night, Max. Cotton Cat. Regarding balls, my son informs me that there's a phrase that's usually translated, I don't care. It literally translates, waft me balls at Where's the plague doctor when you need one? Finland. Okay. So, what's the situation in Finland? Are there a lot of cases? Are you going to leave the stream open? I think so. What I'll do, 5 minutes and it dies. Because what I normally do is I on my stream tool, I click end stream, and then it normally runs for a while. But I can't leave it running, unfortunately. Cuss, hello. 155. Do they have it under control in Finland? Should have said French phrase. I'm not familiar with that French phrase. No one will want to come within 1 meter if you are playing with yourself. Yeah, you need to quarantine yourself. No, unfortunately, when I disconnect, there's nothing I can do. I don't know if I can leave the stream running. I wish I could, but I think once I'm disconnected, it automatically shuts down. I'm sorry about that. It's doubling every 2 days in Finland. Nothing survives herring flavored licorice they eat in Finland. Hey Max, I think I would be a good idea for you to interview someone who has recovered in Italy, and they speak about their ordeal. I'll try and do that if possible. That'd be interesting, yes. I have to make sure that they've recovered first. But that'd be interesting to do, yeah. Good night, Bob. Once the live stream finishes, I'm going over to SpaceX One. Elon is launching the virus in a supercar. Me, Killer, and Glasgow come to the conclusion regarding the stream that you must have accidentally left PC on, as we don't want you to burn your stuff by leaving the lecky on the... What matter then, Max? Extra new calendar compensation will be acceptable. So I'll have to go. I'm so sorry. Maybe next time we can work something out with the live stream that I can leave it running longer. But tonight I have to, because unfortunately, because the connection was so bad before, I had to stream it from my phone. So I had to use my phone connection. So that's why if I take my phone away, it's probably going to eventually drop off. So I thanks very much for coming on the stream, everyone. I hope you had a nice one. Now stay safe. I hope to see you all you guys next week. Have a good night, have a good evening, whatever you're doing. If you're going to another stream, enjoy that. But whatever you're doing, stay safe, wash your hands, get a good night's sleep, whatever you need. Keep away from people who are, putting their hands down their pants or whatever. And never trust Boris Johnson. Okay. Good night, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for all your chats, super chats, or your donations, everything you've sent my way. Thanks so much. Much appreciated. Have a great one.